Okay, let's do it.
Oh, golly. Does all this shit still work? Hey, that's the wrong fucking tab. There we go. That's good. Or should I say...
That's good!
All right. It is Thursday, June 27th, 2027. Yes, we have jumped ahead 3 years. No, it's 2024. When was the last time I was on? It's been a while, hasn't it? Actually, I feel like it's been like a whole month. And things have clearly changed in the last month. Let me fucking tell you that as we talk about that for the evening. Oh yeah, that was a Doom stream. I think I backed that one up. It was, yeah, May 27th. That was unintentional. I did not anticipate being gone that long. Oh gosh, yeah, because that was the week of my orientation at work. And those were only 2 days that week. That was the 29th and the 30th. And I started work on the 3rd. This is technically this is my Friday. And I was about to say, what is that noise? I'm still in the wrong fucking tab. Anyways, I should just hold on. Let me do this real quick. You go over here. There we go. That's still working? Good, it's still working. We're gonna lock that in place. Where is my thing? There we go. I'm trying to think. What did we stream? We streamed up to a certain point in Tokyo Xanadu X Plus, which I have not gone back to. That's been like almost 2 months. That was on May 2nd. I did a stream for Fallout 4 on May 5th. And then we did 2 Vampire Saviors. It was Vampire Survivor. I literally put that as Vampire Saviors. You can see where my mind was during those streams. It's Vampire Survivors. Jesus Christ. Hold on. These VODs are still up. Nobody's pointed that out to me. I realize it's been a month. Hold on. I can't spell survivors because I can't fucking see it right now. Alright, so let's save that. If I can see where it's at. Okay. Jesus Christ. Yeah, those were the 9th and the 11th. Save that. Then I did oh, I think the internet was still out. That was the 18th. So I hopped on my phone, I BS'd for like an hour and then was done. And then I didn't stream between the 18th and the 27th. So that was like just over a week. Since I think that one was just kind of celebrating, yeah, fucking everything's good. Like that was, I signed all my shit, everything was cool. I had my start date and that was good to go. Then we played a little bit of Doom Eternal. Power-ups now available. Oh yeah, they turned power-ups on. I don't even, how do those even work? They require bits, so that shit ain't happening here. I don't think I've had a bits donation in years at this point. Yeah, we tried playing Doom Eternal. I've tried going back to it like once since then, and I'm like, wow, I don't like this DLC because it's just not fun, which is surprising considering how good the game was. The DLC's not any good. And then that was the 27th. I did my orientation. I wanted to stream the weekend before I started work. That didn't happen, and I started work on June 3rd. So I guess we can start there. Nobody's here, but that's all right. This is also a test of my new microphone. I'm hoping it sounds okay. I've fucked with it a little bit. I just haven't had the time. I bought it a few weeks ago and got it connected, and I've kind of been tinkering around with the Wavelink software because I got an Elgato Wave DX microphone. It's an XLR dynamic microphone. And it was part of a deal because I'd already had it in my wish list on Amazon for stream stuff. And I figured, okay, like I can see it's kind of, let me turn the gain down a little bit. And so I can see it's kind of getting a little high, and I don't know what it's picking up, because the difference between like a condenser mic, which that's what the Blue Yeti is. It's a condenser mic. It's all electronic. As far as I know, it's like it's going to have to obviously do analog to digital conversion, because your voice is analog, but it's all going through USB. Whereas this is more like not quite a stage microphone, but you're going in that direction. This is a cheaper. It's not like cheap. It's $100 microphone, but yeah, you're changing from one way of doing things to another. Like with that one, you have to kind of like have it upright and you speak into the side of it. This one needs to be pointing directly towards your face. You can get a little bit closer to it. The sound gets a little bit fuller, but I can't like really bring it up too high because this is a low profile mic arm. And there's no shock mount on it either. I don't believe they make a shock mount for it. It does have a pop filter built into the mic, so that's cool. But it's an XLR microphone, so it has an XLR connection on it. And I think it was like $280 for the set, kind of normally. You would have the microphone, you'd have the XLR cable, and then you have the Wave XLR. Hold on, what did they call it? Bump into shit. Microphone interface and digital mixing solution. Who is messaging me? Oh. Very well. Anyways, nothing really important. I see I peaked it there. And I don't know, like, at least it showed it peaked at 0. If it goes all red, and I'm not like super close to it either. Anyways, part of the story. So you have the mic, the Wave DX, there's an XLR cable, and then there's the Wave XLR. What are they called again? Microphone interface. Anyways, that's where you can plug in the XLR cable, and that feeds out through USB-C. So you can connect it to, I mean, really, you don't even need that. You could get the microphone and the cable and connect that to really any mixing board or anything you would want that takes an XLR connection. But this is at least going, hey, here's a thing. You can connect it up, connects to your computer. We're good. And it's relatively simple in the Wave XLR because it's one knob. You can press it in. You can hold it if it needs phantom power, which I'm not entirely sure what that does. The only thing I know is for this microphone, it does not need it. So I don't think having it on damages it, but it's one of those cases where it's like you're not supposed to have it on, but you can easily just hold down. You can press it. I muted the microphone. That's another part about it. Hold on. But you can hold it down, turn that off, and if you tap it, that will also change from being able to change the gain on the microphone, which might be part of the reason. Like, I have a few things set up. So I kind of went back to my old... There we go. That did work. MCG, welcome in. But yeah, you can mess with the gain. You can mess with... You can press it in again, and then you can mess with the output on the microphone. No, sorry, on the headphones, because there is a headphone jack on the back of the interface. And then there's, I think, if you press it again, then you can kind of mess with the mixing board, or at least the mixing levels of different tracks if you're using the Wavelink software. And that's where we kind of pick back up. I was using the Wavelink software, and I was just having a whole lot of issues with the way it sounded. Oh, there's another button on the back. Like, if you... I do it all the time. If you tap the back of it, all this... Because the way you can check the levels, like on your gain for the mic, is LED dots that go around it. And that's like, hey, the higher, obviously, it is, the higher the higher the gain is, the more it's picking up. Obviously, the louder it's going to be, but the more issues you're going to create. But if you tap the back of it, like the actual like back panel of the interface, it will mute the microphone. And all those LEDs light up red, but it's really easy to hit. Thankfully, if I really just want to mute my microphone and not have to touch anything else on the Wave XLR, I still have my Stream Deck, and you can set up, because now this is just feeding into OBS as the mic aux/aux connection, and I can just, hit a button, and it mutes it. So, yeah, I started using the Wavelink software because I thought, okay, that would be nice to have all these things on here to be able to output gain. What's on the compressor? We already have the limiter. The limiter should be, I don't remember. I thought that was right here. Output gain, I don't want it like super high. All right, anyways. I'm trying to figure out the best way to have everything set up, because like the way you have your audio filters is also where those are set is kind of how they work. It's a lot. I just kind of see, I ended up peaking the microphone again there. I don't know if it sounded bad there, let me know. I'm just watching the audio levels in OBS again. But it always seemed like I was kind of high anyways, and then I would go back and listen to the VOD, and I'm like, hey, everything's cool. I'm not speaking loud enough to spike the microphone, so and if I turn the gain down on the mic any more, it's just gonna make me too quiet. But maybe that's for the best. Okay, yeah, because the limiter and the compressor should be helping out with that to a degree. Because without it, like if it was just raw ass audio from this, like actually I can give you a peek on that. So I'm gonna stop talking. You should hear like other. Let me even mute the video. So if I'm not talking, you really should hear nothing, right? Now let me turn everything off. There should be some noise in the background, just ambient noise. Because, I mean, you're just getting the raw-ass audio from the mic. It may sound better. It may sound clearer. Really, I think I just need to worry about noise suppression. Like this, the way I have things set up right now is like, this is good enough for me to just start. Beyond that, I need to kind of figure it out. Because it's more like, I don't want to have background noise. And I don't want to have to worry about all that. But I also don't want to make myself sound like crap. And I don't need like small sounds being picked up. I just need my voice, but I want it to sound natural. You can turn the EQ back on. The expander, I think that was kind of there, but like limiters and compressors, that kind of boosts your audio, but it also keeps it from getting too crazy when you get too high.
Ho, ho.
And Darkstar, welcome in. How are the desktop sounds as well? Because they sound light on my end, but looking at the levels still, they seem to be fine. So as long as they sound fine to you guys, it's good. Okay. That's pretty much like it. This is still a work in progress. This is like literally the most I've done with my mic again in several weeks because I just don't have time, but we'll get to that part in a bit. So yeah, messing around with the Wavelink software, I was like, I would test it out and I was like, okay, I don't really know where I want to put some of this stuff now that I kind of know where I could. Nana, welcome in as well. Now that I kind of know where I could put some of this stuff, like, threshold and release, I think some of the noise suppression options on that was fine. But the biggest problem I had is just like I would start talking and it was like clipping out really easily on Wavelink. And I was like, is it the mic? Is it the XLR interface? What is it? And then when I started fucking around in here last night before I had to go to bed, and I realized, oh no, it seems to be just the Wavelink software or something within there that this just doesn't play nice with. Because once I just bypassed that and thought, okay, yeah, I can use the XLR interface, hook it up directly through OBS. I can control, the headphone volume. I can control the mic gain. All that does that shit independently from the Wavelink software. I'm like, okay, well, if that's the case, then, if the fix is don't use that, cool. But yeah, I ended up getting this because it was like I'd been talking about getting a new mic for a while, and it was on sale. It was like 240 for the whole shebang: microphone, XLR interface, the XLR cable, so I didn't have to buy that separately. It's a nice braided cable. That's pretty cool. That was my kind of first splurge purchase. I have since made another one that was a much bigger splurge. I don't even think I've posted about it anywhere. We'll get to that too. But yeah, like I got the mic a few weeks ago and I've just been kind of trying to find time to do it. But obviously for the last month, I have let me turn the train sounds back on. For the last month, I have been working. Like it's not the end of the pay period yet for this because we work Monday through Sunday. That's how our work weeks go. Even though my work week, like if you do 2 days off, my work week starts on Sunday and then goes to Thursday right now. It's going okay. I don't want to like talk about too much on the job itself, just because hey, it's scheduling. Hey, it's for a large corporation. Not really something I should bring up, you know, in detail. But boy, howdy, yeah. So the first 2 weeks were 8 to 4, which is like, all right, that's a big difference from wake up whenever the fuck you feel like it, clearly. So that took a little bit of getting used to because I was trying to give myself enough time to get to work. And, you know, not like, hold on. My throat is getting parched. There we go. Oh man, it's and I go back on LinkedIn every once in a while and I see how bad it still is for people and I'm like, that's cool. I love the fact that people are still having such a hard goddamn time finding a job because it shouldn't be this difficult. And in your case, you went back and learned a new field and you're probably having trouble finding work in that field, which is weird because you know, you would think, hey, if they're doing training for this kind of stuff's in demand. But yeah, 8 to 4 was it was a rough change because to get to work early enough to where I know, okay, I'm here, and I have enough of a buffer to where if, you know, the bus I intend to catch doesn't show up. It's kind of like what I did when I was at 2K as well, where I would leave earlier than I need to. But at least if the bus doesn't show up, I can get to work on time on the next one. But if it does show up on time, I'm there early, but I'm already there. So I was having to wake up at 4:30, and I was leaving. If I check Google Maps, they would say like, oh, leave at like 5:22. And I'm like, I always leave earlier than that. So I was out the door like 5:15 or so. Catch the bus probably about, I don't know, quarter to 6, and then get down to Las Vegas Boulevard and Trop, and then walk down to the property. And I'm there roughly around 7. So I have enough time to go grab breakfast and chill out for a little while and then go to the office. That was the first 2 weeks. First day was the 3rd. And I get there and the person that's supposed to be training me is sick. And they leave at 10. So now I'm like basically sitting there with my manager for the rest of the day, trying not to doze off because it's this barrage of information. And that was something I brought up really early. And not only the person, when she came back, she got sick again too, somehow in like the last week and a half. But they're fine now. But they talking to them and talking to the other person that's been there before me, it's just kind of like, yeah, that's just kind of how it is. It's a barrage of information. And it's kind of like, why are you telling me all this now when I just got here? Like, it's like, I barely understand what you guys do. You can't tell me how all these things, this is how this, and this works. It's like, no. Like, put me in front of something and let me learn the basics first. It's kind of hard, though, after having been there a month. It's like, there are basics, but there's so many moving parts to this job. And some of it's very simple to get used to. Some of it is very much muscle memory. And you will learn it just through repetition. But since you're dealing with scheduling, you're dealing with unions, and you have union rules on how you are supposed to schedule things. It gets a little weird, and there's lots of little things along the way, and even some stuff where it's like, this looks simple on the outside. It's like, oh, check this. But when you check this thing, you're going to have to go back and do 2 to 3 other things afterwards. Or it's like, you made this one change on the schedule, go export these 3 things again. So it's all up to date. And you might be there's a lot going on. So that first week, I was just kind of frazzled. And, you know, I think I started the second week, and that Sunday I was just kind of like a deer in headlights, because I was like, what the fuck? Like, it was fine, and throughout the course of that second week, I was starting to get my footing more and more. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of things I'm not remembering, a lot of steps I'm not remembering. That's fine. And I brought it up too, where it's, you know, they clearly know there's a lot to this job. And if you're new to it, you're going to have questions. It's going to take time. Some of this stuff will come to you really quickly. Some of this shit, it may not happen that often. So you're going to ask questions about it, because it's like, you might do it once a month and you're going to forget. But, you know, I brought it up to him briefly, where it just kind of was like, why does it feel like you're telling me that, but it also feels like I should understand this quicker? Or is that just me? I think it was mostly me. Because it just, every time I felt like I had a handle on it, it was like, oh, fuck, here's another thing I didn't know, or another thing I have to learn, or I'm tired because I'm up way too early, and I'm just blanking out on what the hell I'm supposed to do, because it isn't ingrained in me yet. Turn off that siren. So after 2 weeks, it's like, all right, now it's time to learn the opening procedures, because, you know, we operate from 6 to 6. There's a person that comes in that early. Then there's a person that comes in that's kind of like mid. Although it's weird, because there's like technically three things. It's like, you have an opener at 6, you have a mid person at 8, and then you have a closer at 10, which is all in the morning anyways. But I get to learn, get to start learning the opening procedures, which I've been doing for like 2 weeks now. Yeah, 6 to 2, which means I'm out the door. Like, I wake up at 2:30. I'm out the door at 3:15. And I'm kind of getting a handle on that. That, like, first few days, fuck, man. Nobody should be up at 2:30. And it's not even, this is Las Vegas. This is not even, hey, it's early in the morning, it's nice out. A couple of mornings were. And then it got hot again. We were pushing like 110, 111. So when you get up and you leave at like 3:15, it's still like 90, 92 out. And we had a lot of humidity here, for us anyways, within the last week or so. So mornings around that time, it's like, yeah, it's 90 and it's like 35% humidity out. It's fucking gross. And there's no wind, no airflow. It's interesting being on the strip around that time. You get to see how many people are still gambling in the morning, and all the people that are way too drunk and should have been in bed like 2 hours before that. And it's pretty quiet. Other than the construction, there's a lot of construction going on around Las Vegas Boulevard and Trop. Obviously, the Tropicana is being demolished. They're literally bulldozing shit out of the floors and onto the ground, which, when it's not windy, isn't a problem. When it's windy, it just kicks a bunch of fucking dust into the air. I don't know if there's any better way for them to handle that. But they're doing road work around there. Yeah, like there's maybe 5 or 6 floors left for them to push out. And that's for like both hotel towers. They're kind of hauling ass through it, for sure. I think it was like October they might implode the remnants, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I feel like everybody's been to the Tropicana, whether you lived here or not. But yeah, being up that early, I was hoping to be done with the 6 to 2 shift this week. I think I have like one more week because we had another person get hired that hopefully isn't scared off from the job. Because I think when you kind of start getting the hang of things, it's fine, but it's just it's a lot, and I think it's a lot to learn, and it's a good bit of pressure on people because we're just I'm just in the banquets and conventions side of workforce. And I can hear the casino side doing stuff, and I'm just like, you guys sound like you're much busier. But there's certain things like we're not doing right now because I guess our side hasn't been fully staffed in quite some time. So there's certain things that, the casino side's been helping out that once we're like, now that we're staffed up, once we're all kind of trained up to the point where we need to be, we'll take back some of that work. But, the opening's fine. There's shit you got to do when you come in. You got fucking emails. People might have left something for you. You got to call them back or email them back. You got things to do, and some of that stuff's not really complicated. It's just it's a lot of manual work where the first questions I had like within the first 2 weeks was like, how come no one's automated most of this shit? Why do you not have a software engineer working on this team that can automate most of these reports or compile all this shit to where we just got to proofread it and send it to somebody? Like, we have to run this stuff every day. So, but yeah, I think of one more week at this time, and then I believe I get to learn, because I think they'll probably give the new person another week like they did with me, and then probably move them into doing opening stuff. And when they move them, I should be moving into learning closing procedures, and that'll probably be a few weeks. And at that point, I think I might finally get to pick my shift. So I think it's between the two of us, and it's either I'm opening or I'm closing. And at this point, I don't know how the closing stuff's going to go. I just know I don't like waking up at 2:30 in the morning. And the days off really don't matter, because I think the 6 to 2 shift is like still, I think they're always Sunday through Thursday, and they have Friday and Saturday off, which I'm like, all right, those are pretty good days off. Not like I can do much though, because I'm going to my friend's house tomorrow to watch stuff, like we generally have been doing on Fridays. But like last week, I was like, I'm not fucking, like, I got to get up. Like, you guys are starting when I'm going to bed. Like, if I want 8 hours of sleep, I got to go to bed at 6:30 or be asleep at 6:30. And I'm usually not falling asleep till like 7:30-ish. So it's like this week, I'm like, no, I haven't done much of like anything in the last few weeks. So it'd be nice to see folks. But, at this rate, you really just start an ad break? At this rate, there's, having Friday off, it's like, it doesn't matter if I can't see anybody because my sleep schedule's all fucked. But I think the 10 to 6 closing shift is Thursday through Monday, with Tuesday and Wednesday off. There's upshots of that, because I think Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is casual days, so you don't have to come in wearing slacks. You can wear jeans or whatever. At least jeans. And that'd be easier to transport. It'd be nice to kind of have like 3 days where it's like, yeah, I don't have to wear slacks. I can just kind of, be a little bit more comfortable. And having days off in the middle of the week, I'm like, that's fine. Once my benefits kick in, I'll be able to use, those would be easier days maybe to schedule doctor's appointments and shit like that. It won't really matter. But it's going. It's definitely, there are days where I feel really good, and then there's days where I'm walking out of there just like, what am I doing? And just kind of going, okay, I gotta hang on anyways. I don't want to be out of work again. I just finally got all this back together, and I finally got pay that actually, I got money coming in again. It's kind of nice. I don't want that to really go away. But I think part of this job is also, I was thinking about it the other day, and it is the me kind of, it's me swallowing my pride in a lot of ways, because I think I've talked about it before. I don't like casinos in general. I think it's, there's stuff in casinos that's fine. I don't, otherwise it's like there's too many people. Most folks are idiots. They don't know or don't care that you're in your fucking way. And I run into that even just leaving work, where it's like, oh my God, you people need to get the fuck out of my way. And like, how do 2 or 3 people eat up so much space in a walkway and manage to move so slow, but at such a pace that they still get in your way? But for the most part, like even like casinos they're not even that interesting. It feels like they're replacing a lot of table games with like, not quite digital table games, but they, like the roulette and the craps are dealerless. It's kind of weird. Like, I think I see it mostly when I walk through Excalibur, because my pathway in the morning, I walk, since I get off the bus, I cut through a teeny bit of New York on the footbridges there at Four Corners. And then I cut through Excalibur and go through there and got to cut through the food court. It takes me through the walkway that connects them and the Luxor. And then I cut through Luxor. So I got to cut through the casino floor in the Excalibur to get to the food court upstairs. Although I actually can, since I realize there's an elevator that connects to that, I can just kind of bypass that. But I got to cut across part of the casino floor in the Luxor to then get to Mandalay Bay. And then I got to cut across that to either get to Restaurant Row to go over towards my office, or to go, got to still cut across the casino in order to get over to where I can access the EDR. And then I have to cut across the casino floor to get to the tram station to leave, because fuck using the same way back that I take in, because it's too busy. But yeah, I don't, casinos are too full of people, crappy music, overpriced food. I don't like the Strip in general. I know I've talked about that. I'm not a fan of an entire corridor that's not built for locals. We work there, we run these places, but they're not for us. And no matter how many of them during, like, I remember what was like 2008 or so, economic downturn, where it's like, we're not getting as much tourism, we need to get the locals to come in. It's like, no, you're not going to get us. And most people are not going to want to come down here unless they have a really goddamn good reason, like working. I don't like commuting. It's a 3-hour deal of my day. It takes like 90 minutes or so to get down there, and it takes about 90 minutes to get home. And that's mainly, a lot of that is the walk. It's like almost 3 miles combined, walking from the house to get to the bus stop in the morning and getting from that bus stop home. And right now, with it being, with my 6 to 2 shift, it's like I'm walking in like one of the hottest parts of the day to get home. It's fucking terrible. But just commuting in general, I don't miss it. I didn't miss it. I hadn't had to commute by bus consistently for almost 5 years before this. I don't like being in office. I don't mind my coworkers. I actually kind of think, in a way, I'd have been fine being in office for training if this was like the only reason to be there, because this would be hard to learn remotely. But this is a job where 100%, I already know it can be done remotely because people work hybrid on the casino side. Maybe that's in the cards for us on banquets. I don't know. I would hope so. I know they can on like really busy days. I know when for Super Bowl this year, they didn't have them in office because it's like, fuck that. Don't come, take the stuff home. Don't come in, be on the clock, be on your laptops, because it looks like a lot of them get laptops anyways for that reason. Just don't come in to the building, because why would you? It's going to be a madhouse. But this is definitely a job where it's like, no, you can do it remotely. There's no reason to be in an office other than for, the purposes of MGM got hacked last year. But yeah, I don't see the point. I don't like having to wear the slacks I got are comfortable, but it's kind of like I don't. There's no reason for this. But like I thought there was at least another one that I was thinking of. Maybe it was just kind of a combination of it's like remotely and being in office. It's like, yeah, it's kind of pointless, but I'm going to have to do what I have to do and I'm making the best of it, and I'm going to make it work. And it's kind of nice that at least with the folks I'm interacting with on a consistent basis, they know how hard the job is. And, you know, it's just a matter of time and support. We'll see. You know, it's only been a month. We'll see what it looks like in, 6 months, or a year. Especially when I can start like actually using my vacation time. Since I know I'll have enough by like March or April next year to do like a 2-week trip to Japan. So as long as I'm not like asking for major amounts of time off around when we know it's going to be busy, and thankfully that stuff is forecasted far enough in advance, you'll know. I already know what like the next 6 months looks like in terms of, hey, when are we going to have like really big things here that we know nobody's going to get off, that we're going to have to be here for. It's like, all right, that's fine. And the date range I was looking at, it's like, yeah, it's probably not going to fall into any of those. And if it doesn't, cool. But especially when they told me that I can't take unpaid time off, I was like, all right, that's kind of strange, but I kind of get it too. Is like, I guess this is something, I guess the logic was, if you can afford to let somebody take unpaid time, why do you have them there in the first place? I'm like, yeah, but if I have like 2 weeks and want to take a 3-week trip, I'm cool with taking a 1 week unpaid. Just, I don't know. I don't want to have to put it in as a leave of absence. It's just like, just let me take the days. But hopefully I'd be able to take 2 weeks. If I can't like have the time off and use it, at least I can like carry over a lot of it. If I, go over a certain amount, and anything else that's like above that amount, I think I can cash out. But I'm more like, no, let me take 2 weeks off and let me go do my thing. Let me work it around days off that I would normally have to maximize the amount of time I have. It's like, as long as I can take my trip, we're cool. Let me do that every year. I don't have much of anywhere else to go. So the only thing I have planned this year is I'm going to try to go to Denver for my birthday for a few days. So I can't use any time off anyways until my 90-day probationary period's over. That's when my benefits kick in too. I think that's like mid-August. Since I was thinking it's like, oh, everything's going to start on my first day. It's like, no, I technically became an employee of the company, of just MGM Resorts in general. And I think of the property that I work at on the 15th of May, which is actually when I signed my paperwork. So it's like coming in, it's like, oh yeah, my first day of work is technically 2 weeks into being an employee. But I think it was, even when you fill out the paperwork, it's like, as long as your start date with your job is like within 30 days of when you sign the paperwork, they're fine. That's other than, hey, if it's going to be different, probably just talk to your boss and work it out. So, yeah, it's a lot of information, just like the job. Not a lot of information about the job itself, other than using Excel a lot and learning more little tidbits about how to do stuff in there than I knew before, and juggling like fucking 3 scheduling programs, because they all kind of do something different. And when you're in a property that's that big, you handle a lot of people, and our section specifically, our section specifically does shit differently. And we have software that the casino side doesn't use. They don't know what it is. So that's fun. But it also means it's like, oh, just more stuff to say. some of it looks complicated till you do it. It's always the little stuff I run into where it's like, oh yeah, I forgot this and this, just because it's like, all right, I'm just not thinking about it, and it'll come in time. Anyways, the thing I was talking about earlier, you can't see it. I was gonna have a camera on tonight, but I'm like, fuck that. When I get home, I get washed up like almost immediately, and I take a shower, and I'm like, I want to wear as few clothes as possible, and that's not safe for Twitch, so we won't do that. But yeah, the big splurge item, I'll have to take a photo of it later too. Oh, let me clear the... it was making sounds earlier. I'm like, what is that noise? I'm like, oh, never mind. That was the Twitch app on there making noise. So the big thing I had been wanting to get since last year, because of the Japan trip and trying to vlog and edit and do all this stuff on a phone and realizing this is not going to work, was I wanted either a laptop or like a really good tablet that can more or less function as a laptop. To have something where I can edit on there. I have enough room where I can kind of dump files onto there if I really need to just store shit. Just make my life easier, not try to do everything through one device. Like leave this where I'm staying. And then when I get done, I can put everything together and I'd have access to a actual editing suite instead of just iMovie. And, be able to just make cooler vlogs. So I've been kind of mulling about that for a while, and it was either going to be a laptop, which even at a specific size, I was kind of looking at. I'm like, you're looking at like 5 pounds or more for carrying one of those around. And if you get to like a bigger screen, like a 16 or 18-inch screen, they're like 10 pounds. I'm like, I don't feel like I want something where I can take this with me. Like even if I got a case for a tablet that had a keyboard on it, I want it to be no heavier than like the tablet itself. So you have something that's relatively compact, relatively lightweight, but can get shit done. Apple made that pretty easy because they refreshed their iPad Pro line recently. And, it's a brand new chip that I think only it has, because they've been making their own silicon for years, their own processors. And I want to say the iPad Pro line for a bit has been using like the M1, M2, and M3 chips, I believe, which are the same ones. It's a system on a chip that they've developed that's a combination CPU, GPU, that's also, I think, in the MacBook Air as well as the MacBook Pro lines. And like just recently, within the last, I'd say, month or so, month and a half, they're like, hey, we refreshed the line. And that kind of made it a relatively easy choice, because it was like, okay, I can get a laptop that's running Windows, but it may be good. It may not be spec'd out the way I want it to, but I kind of want something that's just going to be also lighter weight. And this, I mean, I kind of gave it away. I bought an iPad Pro. It was expensive. But other than like the full amount of storage space, like it goes up to 2 terabytes. I didn't want to spend that much, so I got the 1 terabyte model, but at least when you go up into that, it gives you extra RAM. It's really nice. I got that. It's personalized on the back. It says Ancient Flounder channel on it. I also bought this is brand new, the Apple Pencil Pro. That's also personalized with an A, F, and C on it, along with a dragon emoji, just to kind of hone in on, hey, we like a dragon around here, even if Infinite Wealth pissed me off for the story. But yeah, the only thing I saved money on, I didn't buy the Magic Keyboard on it because it's kind of expensive. That's like over $300 by itself, and it's not like the best protection either. It's nice, but it's also like, once I saw that Logitech released one where the case itself that comes with it it better protects the iPad, plus it still hooks up. Like the only thing you lose compared to the Magic Keyboard is an extra USB-C port. That's fine. I don't care. But I mean, this was expensive enough. So I've been fucking around with that for like a week. I need to spend some time. I spent some time. I have like a month trial of Final Cut Pro on it to see how that works and how easy it is to kind of put something small together. But DaVinci Resolve's on it as well because Final Cut Pro is like $5 a month or $50 a year. They don't sell you a license. You have to buy a subscription. Whereas DaVinci Resolve, that is free to start, and it's completely usable as a free deal. It's the same way on PC and Mac. But they also, you can buy a license. I think it's a perpetual license for like $300. But it's entirely usable by itself. The bad part is if you buy the license on the iPad Pro version, it actually doesn't give you a license for the PC version, which kind of sucks. And there's no way I think in the PC version you can do that either. I think it's just whatever weird limitation they want to put on it. So it's kind of like, yeah, if I could learn how to use DaVinci Resolve and I like it and I could buy one license and use it on PC, then I would actually have a video editing software I could use on both platforms I'd be using to edit stuff, which would be kind of nice. So I put something together on Final Cut Pro. Actually, you know what? I could just show it to you. Let's put it over here. Let me open it over on this browser first. It's a little thing. Like it really was more like get something simple together, do it in Final Cut Pro, and then figure out how to make this more or less the same thing in DaVinci Resolve and see how well it all that comes together and which one would be probably the best to use. Because there's things that both do that the other does not, but free versus, $50 a year is free is always a good price. And if I can put together something good, then it would be kind of nice. Okay. Let me mute this tab. And bring this back. And unmute the tab. That muted everything. Let me mute that. I said this is super simple, and even add like a whole lot of like color grading or anything like that. That part there with the text, you can do live text as part of Final Cut Pro. Yeah, the music's also included with Final Cut Pro. I'm assuming it's royalty-free music, I hope. Didn't get flagged on YouTube. Like the only bad part about Final Cut Pro, there's no built-in watch party. Nobody wants a watch party. We're not watching the presidential debate. Get out of here. Yeah, there's no way right now, at least. I think Final Cut Pro on iPad is in a better spot than it was like a year ago when they first launched it. There's no way of being able to stabilize footage. There's no noise. Denoising for the video or anything like that. DaVinci Resolve does have stabilization built in, even to the free version, but if you want to use a denoise function, you have to pay for it. You might be able to buy just the... I have to check, actually. You know what? I could do that right now. I don't know if it requires a full license or if it... If you can just buy the... Like, just that by itself. So I still need to fuck around with it. It's like, it's not too bad working with Final Cut Pro. Neither one of these work like Vegas Pro 18, which is what I've been using for like 5, almost 6 years now. So like trying to actually figure shit out and where everything's at, it's like riding a bike again. You're just kind of fiddling around with shit and looking stuff up and hoping for the best. Okay, so good one on here. Like even scrolling the timeline, I'm like looking at it going, what the fuck do I do? I think that one I ended up stabilizing. Problem with stabilization, it also zooms shit in like a lot. So let's say on here, I want to do effects. I think I can search these too. That's a nice part. Yeah, noise distortion, noise reduction. Yeah. If I want to use that, let's say drag it over to here. Yeah, DaVinci Resolve Studio required. This is a more advanced feature that needs the DaVinci Resolve Studio version. This update will give you access to advanced processing features such as noise reduction, speed warp, magic masks, voice isolation, and multiple Resolve effects like face refinement, surface tracker, lens effects, and more. But if you have to purchase it. And that's kind of the bad part. Like, I mean, I don't denoise a lot in, or like ever in Vegas Pro 18 because there's a way of doing it, but it's such an expensive thing to put in there and it just makes everything else lag out. And just that one part, it's going to take a lot longer to render. It certainly does not help that I don't have enough RAM on my PC, and I just haven't the whole time. That's one of those things that's in my my Amazon wish list for streaming stuff is fucking RAM that I believe should work on my motherboard. I need 2 of those because I know the motherboard can take a maximum of 64 gigabytes, and I'm sitting at 16. It's not great. I mean, a jump to 32 would make a lot of difference, but jumping up to the maximum it would hold would be even better, because then at that point, like, I think a lot of weird hitching issues I might run into on games might go away, but I think some of that too is just modern renderers don't fucking work very well. So yeah, we'll see. I know not having the keyboard set up for the iPad, doing some stuff is fine. It's like working any iOS device. But sometimes it's also kind of like, this could be easier with a mouse. And at the very least, even with like the Logitech one, it has a trackpad. It has all this stuff. So once you hook that up, you have a keyboard at your disposal. You have a trackpad, mouse at your disposal. iPad OS has cursor support, and I think it's had it for a while. So it's not quite the... there's limitations to having it, but I think a lot of the same shit that I would want to do, it's all accessible there. Plus any iOS app purchases that I have, I can use already on there because they work. Not everything's great, but like I know iPad OS now, you're not stuck in full screen for all of your apps. Like some stuff like Instagram is just not optimized for iPad. So it runs in a window that's usually too big, but then you have to, if you size it down, it's just basically the size of like an iPhone screen. But you can kind of combine certain things. So if, let's say, I wanted to check that as well as check on a browser, I can do that and just kind of have them side by side. And I can, easily switch through apps and everything else. So it's going to prove to be useful. And the fact is, it's ridiculously thin for what it is, and it's pretty lightweight. So I'm curious to see when I get that case. That's going to be probably a few months down the road. I need to get this thing paid off first, which shouldn't be too difficult. I think once I realized I was getting my first full check last week, Like, all right, let's go ahead and do this. And then I got paid. And I was like, ooh. Isn't it nice when you have paychecks that you look at and go, fuck, is that the normal check? Yeah. Because I gotten paid twice before this. I got paid for the 2 days I had for orientation. So they were pretty small. And I actually got paid for the hour of paperwork stuff I had to do, going down to the corporate office and doing that, because I ended up seeing it and going, what the fuck is this, 20 some odd dollars that I got deposited? Is this like a, a test deposit? What, $20? Usually they do like a, dollar or something to test deposits, and they take it back. And then I look at when I finally get access to Workday and am able to see my pay stubs, I go, oh no. And I ask my boss about it. I'm like, because he was like, oh, we need to get your pay stuff set up. I'm like, oh no, they did that when I did my paperwork. That's like one of the first things they had me do. And I'm like, I got paid for this. And he's like, oh, yeah, they probably paid you for the hour. They probably just rounded it up. And it's like they paid you for your time to come down and get this stuff done. I'm like, I don't think I've ever been paid for that before. It was kind of nice. But I was also paranoid after the experience I had at Skills, where they fucked up my federal tax withholding and I wasn't having it pulled out for like, 4 months or so. These first couple of things, like, getting paid an hour, they're not going to, I think the way the W-4 is now, it's like they're not pulling federal withholding tax out of, an hour's worth of pay. But I ended up getting the 2 days I had for orientation, and it's like, well, it didn't come out there. So I was paranoid for like 2 weeks. I'm like, uh-oh, am I going to run into this problem again? Nah. Perfectly fine. When I got my first full paycheck, it's like, nope, everything came out just fine. I think when I looked it up, it's like anything you make that's under $600, they don't pull federal withholding out of it. I'm not sure how that would look in the long run if you had like a bunch of checks that were really small, but as long as it's coming out, I might do more withholding, but we'll have to see once I start paying my insurance premiums, because that's going to be like $78 a check. But the insurance seems like it's pretty good, and they have you pick a primary care physician right off the bat out of the list that's available. So I'm sure that's through whatever is contracted for the healthcare plan that's available through MGM Resorts. But it's somebody that's not too far away from me. They're over by Galleria Mall. So I'm like, cool, man, I'll go to the doctor and then go to 85 degrees and have have a coffee and some bread afterwards. We'll see how that works out when I don't live on this side of town. But for the time being, I will, I'll make it work. Anyways, it is, it's almost 7:20. I didn't have much else planned tonight other than just BS and hop on, because I haven't talked to you guys in a while. And even on most other places, like I'm kind of sort of ish active, but I haven't had a whole lot of time. I don't remember who I was talking. Oh, I think it was Zelibrius that was on. He was asking me and Aaron, our roommate Aaron, because he started working like right at the same time. And, asking how we are. And I'm just like, my reply was, because it was the honest reply, it's like, I'm doing fine, even though my days are right now working, commuting, or sleeping. Because, right now with the 6 to 2 shift, I'm up at 2:30. I'm out the door at 3:15. I get there about 5. I kill time. I start at 6. Thankfully, my lunches are paid. So 1 hour of my day is paid lunch. So I only really work for 7 hours. But once I'm done at 2, I'm pretty much out the door. Although lately, like this week, I decided, fuck it, I'm not walking to the bus stop or walking home in work clothes. Like, I'm just going to take everything off. I get one of the bathrooms there is like near the security, not office, pardon me. I mean, kind of like where, the security team would be at. What's, cops have it. Not a station, but kind of like where everybody meets up. But it's more like a service hallway, kind of, that's connects some of the offices and shit. And there's a restroom in there. And I know some of them end up using it to like change out or get ready. So it's just like, fuck it. I go in there and I change out of my street clothes. I go into work clothes and we're good. So that takes up a little bit of time, but it's like I leave it to, by the time I get home, it's like 3:30, 3:45, depending upon how long things take. And if I'm good about it I'm in, laying down by like 7:15, I'm out by like 7:30, 7:45. So I don't have like a ton of time, and I got to be up at 2:30 again. I'm trying to wake up relatively early when on my days off, but I am sleeping in because it's like the one time where it's like if I fall asleep at like 9 or 10, it's like, yeah, I could still sleep until like 7 or 8 and, actually get some fucking sleep for a change. It's just, yeah, I don't have a whole lot of time. That's what kind of sucks. But trying to make it work out. Where was I going with this? Other than, just like, yeah, I haven't, just haven't talked to you guys in a while. And it gives me not a whole lot of time to dwell on shit, but like some of the stuff that was bugging me in April and part of May is still bugging me. It's just stupid shit at this point. Thinking somebody might actually dislike me, where I'm just like, I don't think they dislike me at all. It's just me making shit up and being too hard on myself. And it's like, no, I just don't think they're talking to much of anybody at all, period. So, it is what it is. And in a way, it's like, it's kind of nice because it's like, I'm not outrunning it. I don't have time to hyper fixate on that shit. When I had enough time on my hands, when all my time was mine, it was so easy to lose a lot of that because you get stuck on thinking about something and you can't get your mind off that subject. What else are you going to do? When I'm at work, I can't think about that because I'm thinking about work. And, if I'm on the way there, I'm not thinking about it either for the most part. So I might be too tired to do it. It's really only kind of like when I'm asleep and maybe when I'm awake, just waking up or just going to bed. That's when it's like the worst. And that's pretty normal. As normal as, an awful thing could be, because it's not terrific. But, it's better than it has been. So if you remember April, remember how just down and out of it I was, what a difference, it's been compared to that. That was 2-3 months ago. And I was kind of like at that point, it's funny. That's why I took everything down, because it was just like, I was so pissed off. After that first interview, and it went fine. And then I just felt like, are these people not going to get back to me? And I felt like I got ghosted on like my first in-person interview in quite some time. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? So when they reached back out to me and said, hey, we got an opening here, do you want to interview for it? I swallowed my pride and I did it. And at the same time, though, just kind of like, I'm going to give you guys this shot, and you fuck up, I'm not going to give you another shot again. I don't owe that to you. But it's like, I'll be the bigger person and I'll try to make this out. But the fact that, they reached out to me directly meant something. And I think now, looking at it after a month of doing this, it's like, yeah, I can see why they didn't bring me in on casino operations. But, banquets needed the people, and they decided to take a chance on me, and it worked out. So it's a big difference from there, where I was just like, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen, to still kind of doesn't, I don't know what's going to happen. I just hope for the best, that it all kind of works out still. If it does, and it's cool, and like, great. I don't know what this is going to, be. When I started it, I know, Charlie Epsilon, you've seen him in here before. I was talking to him, and I was like, and I was honest when I said it. It's like, this feels like the closest thing I have to a fresh start in a while, because it's a completely new industry to me. I've worked in a casino, but I've never done this, or this kind of work. And at 40 and coming out of, being in QA, even if like 1/3 of my time in QA was spent unemployed. Yeah, I've just never done anything like that. I didn't realize that's how, you know, like there was a sole team to do all the scheduling for a property. I just figured it's like, yeah, you have your sections and they do it. And it's like, no, they send us the numbers and we do it. And, you know, you got to go back. It's a lot of back and forth too. Because it's like, hey, does this work? No, because this person doesn't like this or they want this now. And a lot of stuff to remember. But yeah, like, I don't know. It'd be nice if this became like a long-term thing. Yeah, having a dedicated team for that. And probably just, it's easier to have it kind of go through one place. Because if, you know, you have a bunch of different people scheduling things, it's like, it's probably a lot harder to line things up too when you know it's going to be like really busy. Unless you have it going through only a few people. But yeah, I don't know what this spells in the long term. I know MGM's opening up a casino in Osaka in 2030. That was supposed to be out, like, I thought it was supposed to be open in 2028, but they've been pushing that back. That's years from now. I don't know if where I'm at would translate over very well to a foreign property, but I don't know, maybe they need somebody in Macau or something like that. I'll go to Macau. I'll try it out. But yeah, seeing that, you know, 1/3 of my time in QA was spent looking for fucking work, and knowing that ageism is a thing in that industry, and seeing how bad and how many people either that I know personally and have worked with, or people that they know, the problems they're having looking for work right now, either, you know, being older, or even if parts of gaming are very open to people of different walks of life, it's like, hey, if you're trans, if you're a person of color, that can make the problem harder as well. And certainly for me, where it's just like, yeah, I don't want to put up with the gaming industry's bullshit. Like, you either give me what I want or fuck off, basically. Like, I don't know how many bridges I've actually burned, but I'm sure I know people that I've worked with that they might like me, but they're not going to vouch for me, and that's fair. Just, even I don't know, and any, you know, where I would want to go in that, and I've been honest with it, where it's like, I want to be in games, but, and maybe even in QA, but the work's kind of boring. And I don't want to deal with it. And the longer I was away from it, the less I wanted to deal with it. And the longer I was away from it, the less desirable I would be as a hire. Because my skill set either is going to get rusty, or it's going to get outdated, or both. And I just was like, I'm making the conscious decision to just like, no, you can hire me and I will get caught up. But I'm not getting caught up before you hire me. Just because I don't have the money to do that. Now I do, and it's like, I wouldn't have the time to try to fucking shore up that shit anyways. Like, I'd rather learn the job that I have right now and see where that takes me. Because Lord knows, even if I didn't want to work for this property, MGM has like half the properties on the strip. But like, all of them have workforce at this point. They're all going to have their own teams. They're probably all running the same shit. So once you learn it, it kind of opens some doors. And I know people move around between properties, and I sure as shit know, like, for like servers and bartenders and shit, they work multiple properties anyways. So there's opportunities there. And, you know, so the money's fine. It's more than I made last time at my last job. I think it could pay more, but yeah, that's just a personal opinion. I think with the work and the amount they expect, and kind of the inherent stress of doing it, it's like, yeah, you could pay better, but you pay better than probably a lot of other jobs in town. And I think everything probably could pay better now with just the way the cost of living in the city has gone up. But that's a topic for another day. Anyways, 7:30. I'm going to continue drinking my Beast. Beast Unleashed Mean Green. You want an alcoholic beverage that tastes, well, I mean, Monster makes it. It has no caffeine, but if you wanted an alcoholic beverage that tastes exactly like a regular Monster, that's exactly what this is. But it's a giant can. Aaron brought home, I guess they were clearing them out. They were like 2 for $3. I haven't seen 24-ounce cans. I've only seen like the 16. So he's like, he got one of these and one of the ones that tastes just like the, I think the ultra whites. Yeah, no caffeine. It's only 6% alcohol. Oh, does this even have like the rest of the numbers on there? Not really. It's fine though. It's good. Just, it's a lot. I still have some minus 196s as well. If you can find the Suntory minus 196, get them. I want to get the lemon flavor, but I found 4-packs. It's the closest thing we'll get probably to Strong Zero over here. Strong Zeros in Japan are 8%. They're only, the minus 196s are 6%. But the peach and the grapefruit flavor, delicious. Easy to drink. They're not made with, I'm sure it's a form of shochu for the, because they're basically chew highs, I think. It's either that or some kind of grain spirit they use for Strong Zeros. These are marketed as vodka seltzers. Vodka seltzers? Yeah, anyways. They're good, though. You know, sweet without being, like, overly sweet. Good fruit flavor. Nice and fizzy. Pretty refreshing, as you'd expect. Or best not to have too many. Anyways, yeah, we'll leave it at that. With everything as it is right now, like it's been hard enough to line up a time to stream, and even on weekend days where I'm just like, oh, I could probably do this. I'm just like tired anyways, so it's gonna be up in the air. And like Thursdays, sometimes I'll go out. Like it's too hot to do much of anything right now, but like some of the other Thursdays, it's like I go do something after work because I'm like, hey, I have time. So we'll try to do it again soon enough. So I feel like if I start streaming regularly, it's probably going to be like a day a week because it's going to be the only thing that makes sense. I don't have enough time when I get home to be able to do a multi-hour show. It's just not possible anymore. But if I think about it, I probably would be able to do, especially if I go out to someplace like mildly interesting, maybe I can try to do like an on-location stream, try to do IRL streams and see what to do with that. I do still need to get like a better like mic system, like a wireless mic system that would interface, like something I can either plug into the phone or whatever it might be, just to be able to have a better way to pick up my voice that's not just picking it up off the mic. And that would help in the future too, doing streams like the next time I go back to Japan, because it's like I can use Twitch on the iPad. That's perfectly fine. That has a camera, that has multiple cameras. It's like having a better microphone. It's like, oh, okay, this would be pretty good. And that would also help too with filming. That's stuff to think about in the future. But I'll be back soon enough. And of course I'm around, so if you need to fucking find me, there's Discord, there's Instagram. If you're on Facebook, there's Facebook there. You know, there are options. I am around. I am tired, but I am alive. God damn it. So, I hope all of you are doing well. Nana, best of luck to getting the job search done. I hope something turns up to you for you really soon, and that you get out of your own job search hell. 'Cause God knows I'm so happy to be out of mine after so long. I'm glad to be done with it. I don't want to be back into it. If I find myself out of work again, it better be by choice, and that I can just be like, okay, we're good, as opposed to being just stuck in that shit for a while. But yeah, I hope everybody's doing okay. Stay cool, for God's sakes. It's too fucking hot out there, especially here. But anywhere else, it's going to be hot and humid, or just hot. But we will talk to you all again very soon, and hopefully, I'm gonna have to listen to this VOD later, and hopefully the mic audio sounds pretty good. But I will continue refining that until it's where I want it to be. But yeah, stay safe, stay well, watch out for weirdos out there. Again, keep cool, stay hydrated, because it's gonna be a bad summer, man. At least it feels that way. Bad for heat, anyways. But until next time, thanks again. Take care. We will see you all later. Have a very good night. Bye-bye.
Hey! Hi, Duke. Oh, listen, I just wanted to say goodbye and remind you that the good guys always win, even in the 80s.